Hey guys, today I want to talk about something that I think nobody really wants to talk about, and that is the passage of time and how time affects us, and also how we can take care of ourselves so that way we can make things for a very long time. Hey guys, welcome. Thank you guys so much for being here. I am Felicia from SweetGeorgia, and this is Taking Back Friday. This is the place where I come every Friday and we talk about knitting and spinning and weaving and dyeing and all those things about the fiber arts. Now, I generally like to talk about how important it is to make time to make things. And over the past summer, I have been wrestling with this one thought, and it is about getting older. I had it was not a significant birthday, but it was a birthday. I had my birthday in July, and I feel like ever since my birthday, I've been feeling the effects of time. I've been feeling the effects of getting older. I never used to feel this way. Birthdays were just birthdays, and I was just whatever. Everything was fine. And all of a sudden, this year in particular, I kind of feel like everything is slower, and I run slower, and I walk slower, and I get up slower, and everything just feels a little bit more off. So this week, it's been highlighted a little bit by the fact that I really totally jacked up my back and my neck, and it's been all sore and hurting since this Monday because I was working on setting up this loom for the multi-shaft weaving class that I'm making for the School of SweetGeorgia. So you can see, like, I have my loom here, I have been setting it up, and on Monday I was filming the course content for this multi-shaft weaving class. And it's not like I've never worked with this loom before. I've had it for 10 years now, and I use it and woven lots of things on it. But for whatever reason, maybe it was because I was trying to force myself to get it done as soon as possible. Maybe I was trying to work a little bit faster than I normally do. Maybe I wasn't sitting at the right angle. Maybe I was just hunched over for too long in this one position. And so when I got up, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sore. And then the next day I woke up so sore and couldn't move my neck. Now, this is not the first time that this has happened to me. I think last June, I decided to switch my knitting technique from normal English style, where I'm holding my yarn in my right hand, to continental, where I was holding my yarn in my left hand. And I did this for about a week and ended up totally messing up my shoulders and my back and all of this kind of stuff. So this is it's not totally new to me. It's kind of something that happens. If I sit at the computer for too long, this happens as well. But it just got me thinking to the things that people often tell you, like, oh, you'll have lots of time to do this when you're retired. You'll have lots of time to work on all of your crafts, when you're retired, when your kids are older, whenever. Like, all of these things imply that you're going to do it later down the road, later when you have more time, later when you're retired, later when you're older. And there's nothing wrong with getting older, except that I feel like getting older means that my body is starting to break down in ways that I had not previously anticipated. And so it all being a little bit foreign to me, it's just, I'm trying to understand what I should do now in order to prevent that from happening later. And everything is about down the road later. But the question is, what if by the time I get to the moment in time when I have copious amounts of time to do all this stuff, what if my body is not capable, not physically capable or not mentally capable of doing those crafts that I want to do? And so part of what I'm thinking right now is just trying to think of ways that I can improve what I'm doing in order to be able to enjoy and participate in and do my crafts for a long, 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 long time. So what kind of triggered this whole train of thought this week was I stumbled on this article called "This is How to Age with Elegance." I found this on Medium. It came out a couple weeks ago, and it describes a man who started learning how to run at age 89. And then he ran his first full marathon at age 93. And now he's 108 years old and he's still running marathons. That's incredible. It's absolutely incredible to me and awesome. And I just wonder, will I be able to sit here and work on my loom when I'm 108 years old? Will I have enough body strength? Will I have enough energy? Will I have enough flexibility to be able to do all those things? And what can I do now to ensure that I'll be able to do those things later? This is not all about weaving. This is about all the fiber arts and all the different crafts that I want to do. I want to be able to knit when I'm older. I want to be able to dye yarn when I'm older. I still want to be able to spin and weave and all these things as I get older. And I think about how, like in the past couple of years, I've noticed more and more that if I sit there and I knit for too long a time, that my arms will go numb and I'll have that tingly sensation. And I know that that's not really a good thing. So part of what I'm trying to do with knitting is to switch around my knitting technique a little bit, change hands a little bit, make sure that I'm not sitting for too long, make sure that I'm changing around my activities, those kinds of things when it comes to knitting, making sure that I'm minimizing my movements and not causing too much strain or tension in my hands and my arms. That's one thing. And then with dyeing, the one thing that I always tell people to do is to wear a mask, to wear protective gloves. You really need to protect yourself from the chemicals that you're using, from the dyes, from the fine powders, all of those kinds of things, because you want to be able to ensure that you'll be able to do that craft for a long time. A couple of years ago, I also had an e-spinner, like a electronic spinner. It was the Hanson mini spinner. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful, beautiful wheel. But I already had a treadle wheel, and since I had no problem treadling, I thought, well, I should probably, this mini spinner is kind of an additional optional thing. And so I started to try to sell it. And it turns out that it was great because I sold it to a woman who recently was in a car accident. And so she couldn't treadle, but she still wanted to spin. And so something like that, having an electronic spinner available to you to be able to spin and adjust tension and all these kinds of things is great if you're not able to physically treadle a wheel. So that option is available. Now, when we're talking about this loom now and with the weaving, like I said, I've worked on this loom for 10 years. I've done lots of things, and I don't know why it has never happened before where I've developed back pain or shoulder pain because of trying to thread these heddles. But it could be a combination of different reasons. Like earlier this year, I switched all of my heddles to these Texsolve heddles, and they're still rather new, and so they don't really slide and shift along these bars that easily. I kind of have to push them across and space them out. Once they get used a little bit, they're going to loosen up a little bit and it'll be a lot easier to get the yarns in here. But right now I'm kind of tugging and pushing the heddles around on these shafts a little bit. So there's a little bit of that. And then maybe, working under these hot lights, maybe spending a couple of hours trying to do this and trying to get it done relatively quickly. I think that all contributed to the fact that I got this pain. The other thing is that normally this loom is opened up. And when it's opened up, it means that I'm actually seated quite far away from the heddles because there's a front bar that's blocking. And so it's very difficult to get up close to do your work. And so what I actually had to do for the second half of this threading is I untwisted the sort of the holding pin on this entire loom, and I closed the X. I made the X a little bit smaller, compressed it and compacted, minimized the size of the loom. This is normally what you do. You would squish up the X frame of the loom in order to store it or in order to move it from room to room or something like that. You fold up the X frame so that it's smaller. So I did the same thing. I folded up the X frame so that it was smaller, so that it allows my body to be a little bit closer to where the heddles are. The other thing that I really love about my loom upstairs, the Louette spring loom, is that the front bar pops off and then I can actually sit as close as possible to the heddle. I could sit basically inside the loom and thread my heddles there. Now with this case, this does have a front bar here, and I just decided I'm gonna just remove it temporarily so that I have closer access to the heddles. The other thing is that I'm sitting on the bench that comes with this baby wolf loom, and it's great for weaving, but I find that for threading the heddles, it's a little bit too high for me, and so I was hunched over. So what I had to do was I switched out to a stool, and I used a stool that I got from IKEA, put a couple of pillows on top so that I was lower and closer at eye level to the heddles. And then I was kind of working from underneath this beater bar. I could remove this too, but it's just a little bit, one more step, a little bit more extra work. This front bar was easy to remove. The beater is a little bit harder to remove. It could be done though. And so I just am thinking, and I want you guys to also think about this too, is that, you know, when you're watching a lot of these instructional videos and you're watching other people warp a loom, you're watching people dress a loom, you know, there are the steps that need to be achieved in order to do this work. You know, you do have to wind it onto the back. You do need to thread the heddles. You do need to do these things. And it's easy to say, oh, this is just what you do. But you need to adapt those processes and those workflows to your body. You have to adapt it to fit your body. Now, I'm 5'2", and so if you happen to be 6'2", maybe this loom might feel a little bit too short for you, too cramped for you. Maybe you have to like find a different way of sitting and orienting your body to your equipment to make sure that it's not going to damage you and it's not going to hurt your shoulders or anything like that. So all of these things, what I'm trying to say is basically adapt everything that you do to fit your body and your needs. So I tried to look up information on, you know, people threading their baby wolf looms, and if they normally take off the front bar, and if they normally take off the back beam, or if they normally do whatever. But in the end, it kind of doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what anybody else does with their equipment. It matters what I do with the equipment because it needs to fit my body and make me not hurt. So that's it. That's what I'm thinking right now. You know, in the end, these activities that we're doing, they are physical activities. They require your body. They require your body to function. And so it can be very difficult and very frustrating if, you know, your back is sore and you can't treadle the loom, or, you know, your shoulders are hurting and you can't knit, or you can't lift a pot for dyeing. Like, these things become limitations and barriers, and it's not just a barrier to activities of daily living, which is very, very important, but it's a barrier to you being able to enjoy the things that you're passionate about. That's what I'm most afraid of, is like losing the ability to do the things that I'm most passionate about. Then I'd have to go find other hobbies. So the other things that I'm thinking about are, you know, making sure that I have strength in my core, that I do my stretches, that I do some yoga, that I keep up my endurance and my fitness, so that somehow I'm able to maintain my physical capabilities to be able to do all of this stuff later on when I have theoretically more time to do this stuff. So that's it about that topic. I would love to hear if you guys have any tips or suggestions on what you do to keep physically fit or mentally fit to be able to do the crafts that you love and enjoy. I'd love to hear if you guys have done anything in the way of adapting your knitting techniques, you know, holding your yarns, anything like that, or if you've adapted your looms or your spinning wheels in order to fit your body type or body shape or height or anything like that. I would love to hear about what you guys have done in this way. We do have a friend who is a physiotherapist, and I want to talk to him more, maybe in the coming months, about ergonomics and being able to do these things in a very, very healthy and safe way. But in the meantime, I would love to hear from you guys and what you guys do. And before I go, I do want to show you my progress on the Soldatna. Last night, I was saying, I was so close to finishing. I almost stayed up to finish the sweater, and so that I could wear it today on the show, but no. But I'm very close. So you can see here, It goes by actually so fast. It's only been about 2 weeks, but this is basically the top. All the color work is done, and now I'm just working on the body section. And the body section is basically going to be 5 sets of these little colored dots here. These little tiny, they look like little polka dots, tiny little polka dots all over, scattered. And so there's 5 repeats of that, and so that will probably be about that much. And then a little bit of ribbing, pick up the sleeves, knit a little bit of ribbing, and then I'll be done. It's just like a 2.5 week sweater, 3 week sweater. It's really fun and so quick, so quick. Okay, so that is it for this week. Hopefully next week I'll have a sweater to wear. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys like this episode, please do hit the like button. If you like content like this and would like to see more, please do hit subscribe. We come here every Friday and we talk about knitting and spinning and weaving and dyeing. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you guys are at all interested, we are doing our Carolina Waves Mystery Knit Along Knit In, and it is going to be on Zoom. So if you would like to be on video with us all at the same time, you can look down below in the link, and we will be starting at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and you can join us there. All right, thank you guys so much. Thanks for being here, and I will see you in the next one. All right, bye for now.